Deep within the glowing food-inspired halls of Castle Fondue, inside the great Enchanted Cheese Kingdom, lived Princess Brielette, the younger sister of Princess Cheddarella. Brielette was a lovely young girl with soft shoulder-length brown hair, round shimmering glasses, and a lilac dress decorated with tiny bows, resting gracefully on her shoulders. Her cheeks were rosy and her appearance slightly chubby in a sweet, gentle way that made everyone in the kingdom adore her. Although kind and warm-hearted, she was known above all for her remarkable creativity and her brilliant mind. Even as a child, Princess Brielette showed fascination not with toys, but with cheese gears, butter-powered machines, and tiny models of food inventions she built out of fondue wax and breadcrumbs. When other children played outside, Brielette spent hours reading scrolls about chemistry, dairy magic, enchanted temperature control, and mythical cheese creatures. It was clear she was destined not for baking, like Cheddarella, but for invention. Her bedroom was charming, filled with lilac cushions, shelves shaped like cupcakes, and curtains patterned with tiny slices of cheese. But the most important feature of her room was hidden behind a heart-shaped candlestick. When she pressed it softly, the wall slid open to reveal a glowing secret passage known only to Brielette and her loyal kitten Leary. Leary often followed Brielette down the spiraling corridor, her tiny paws producing soft sparkles of light as they descended into the princess's secret world. At the end of the passage lay her private laboratory, a gigantic circular chamber carved into the heart of Castle Fondue. The room glowed with warm, magical light. Cauldrons made of golden fondue pots bubbled gently on floating platforms. Parmesan snowflakes drifted across the air vents. Soft wheels of moon-aged cheese hummed quietly on shelves, soaking in enchanted aroma. Glowing runes, shaped like forks and spoons, floated through the room, maintaining perfect balance in the laboratory's temperature. Tables were filled with beakers of shimmering dairy crystals, jars of powdered mozzarella essence, and coils of stretchy curd fiber. Princess Brielette had spent more than a year working on her most ambitious invention yet: the everlasting melt. A cheese so perfectly smooth, warm, creamy, and elastic that it would never harden, never cool, and never lose its magical strength. It was meant to improve the culinary world forever. Sandwiches would stay melted. Fondue fountains would run endlessly. Food festivals would host glowing cheese sculptures that remained warm and soft all day. The kingdom eagerly awaited her next innovation, unaware of how monumental this one would be. But creating such a miracle had proven extremely difficult. Every night, Brielette put on her lilac apron, adjusted her round glasses, and scribbled new formulas in her notebooks. Her equations mixed dairy magic with alchemy, emotional resonance, and temperature enchantments. Leary sat beside her, sometimes pouring beams of light onto ingredients, sometimes accidentally knocking over a boiling flask. Many attempts went humorously wrong. Once, the mixture ballooned into hundreds of bouncing cheese bubbles. They filled the lab, drifting upward and popping into tiny Parmesan fireworks that clung to Brielette's glasses. Another time, the cheese gained too much magical elasticity and bounced around the lab like a rubber ball, knocking over tables and sending Brielette spinning in circles as she tried to catch it. A separate attempt resulted in cheese so light that it floated like a glowing yellow cloud, which drifted around the room until landing on Brielette's head like a soft, warm hat. Leary found that attempt irresistible and refused to stop batting the cheese cloud. Still, Brielette never gave up. She believed in her invention with all her heart. She carefully adjusted her formula day after day, adding tiny drops of enchanted butter essence, stirring with a spoon carved from crystallized dairy starlight, and whispering warm affirmations into the mixture, as ancient inventors once did. Her determination filled the laboratory with a gentle lilac glow. One late evening, something extraordinary happened. The cauldrons bubbling slowed, the glowing runes on the walls aligned. The mixture settled into a warm golden radiance. Brielette lifted her spoon. The cheese stretched perfectly and endlessly, remaining soft no matter how long she held it. She gasped as she realized the truth. After 1 full year, the everlasting melt was complete. But as she celebrated, a problem appeared. The mixture pulsed with magical energy, forming small waves of buttery light that began rising out of the cauldron. Brielette panicked. If the cheese escaped the lab, it might melt through walls and start sticking to everything in the castle. She quickly used a binding charm she had invented months before. A ring of lilac magic surrounded the cauldron, calming the everlasting melt back into place. She eggs in relief. Just then, an unexpected visitor arrived. A tiny cheese fairy named Minicota fluttered into the lab. She had a body shaped like a creamy desert and wings dusted with powdered sugar. She explained that she sensed Brielette's breakthroughs and came to bless the final creation. By touching the everlasting melt, Minicota gave it the ability to respond to joy and happiness, allowing it to glow brighter when people felt grateful or excited. Brielette thanked her and prepared for the grand reveal. News spread across the Cheese Kingdom that Princess Brielette was finally unveiling her invention. The main plaza was decorated with cheese bunting, edible lanterns, giant fondue fountains, and cotton candy clouds floating above the crowd. Tables made of huge cheese wheels held pastries, breads, crackers, and magical fruit toppings. When Brielette arrived, wearing her lilac dress and shiny glasses, the citizens cheered. She carried the crystal bowl containing the everlasting melt. Leary marched beside her, proudly swishing her sparkling tail. Princess Cheddarella waved joyfully from the front row. Brielette stepped onto the stage and held up her bowl. But before she could speak, the everlasting melt reacted to the excitement of the crowd. Warm golden light swirled out of the bowl. Ribbons of glowing cheese rose into the air like enchanted streams, hovering above the kingdom. Children laughed and chased the ribbons. Bakers collected glowing strands on fresh bread. Musicians watched as the ribbons harmonized with their instruments, creating a soft, magical melody. Then, a plot twist occurred. The everlasting melt glowed even brighter and suddenly formed shapes. Floating animals made of cheese. A cheese dragon curled in the air, puffing warm, cheesy steam. A cheese butterfly fluttered above the audience, leaving sparkles behind. A cheese kitten danced around Leary, who chased it playfully. The crowd roared with laughter and amazement. Brielette worried again, afraid she had lost control. But then she noticed something remarkable. Whenever someone smiled, the cheese magic grew more beautiful and gentle. It was responding to joy, love, and unity. Her invention wasn't malfunctioning, it was more powerful and wondrous than she ever imagined. When the glowing ribbons finally returned to the bowl, the entire plaza erupted into thunderous applause. Princess Cheddarella hugged her sister tightly. The Cheese Kingdom praised Brielette as the greatest innovator in generations. The everlasting melt became the new bestseller of the kingdom, used in festivals, celebrations, and even magical art displays. That night, as lanterns glowed like soft cheese, moons and laughter echoed across the plaza, Princess Brielette felt overwhelmed with happiness. Her long nights of effort, her comedic failures, her courage to experiment, all of it led to a magical creation that brought joy to her entire kingdom. Leary curled into her lap, purring gently. Princess Brielette whispered that every invention needs heart, imagination, and a little sprinkle of magic. Leary purred in agreement as the Cheese Kingdom sparkled under the lilac night sky, celebrating a day they would remember forever.